You guys get up for her one more time. Rebecca! All right, are you guys ready for your headliner? Yeah. You guys ready for the Fresh King? You guys, he is absolutely hilarious. He has amassed a huge following on social media. He is not afraid to take down the likes of Tim Ballard. You guys, please give a very warm welcome for the Fresh King Benjamin!
Hey, thanks for coming! Oh, look at you, you all look so good. Give it up for my 3 comedy wives. Elena is obviously my first wife. She's the responsible one. She makes lists. She makes sure that we're all fed. Cheyenne is my second wife. She has a job. She's strong. And then Becca is my third wife. She's the fun one. You guys want to hear? I want to get into my set, but you guys want to hear the story about how I met Becca? Yeah. Before we get started. So I don't know. I think you all probably know that I grew up polygamous, right? So I'm overcorrecting. And part of the overcorrecting is last year I went to Burning Man. Do you guys know what Burning Man is? Burning Man is like the opposite of Utah. It's literal Babylon. Like, do you guys remember when they taught us about Babylon in Sunday school? That's a real place, and it's in the Nevada desert. And it's pretty rad because they build like a giant idol of a man. It's a huge dude, and he's just going like this. I don't know what he's waiting for. But we party around that for like 7 days. We don't do any drugs. Whatever you've heard, we do none of them. And I went to Burning Man for the first time last year because the Lord called me to the desert. I'm glad you're here, dude. Is this your girlfriend? No. Are you on a date? No. You're just hanging out. Oh, okay. She looked like a really young wife. Oh, you guys didn't like that. I'm going to go back to my story. So you guys were kind of distracting over there. Sorry to put you in an awkward situation. So I go to Burning Man, and I just go fucking crazy, you guys. I went so crazy that I got 3 boners. 3 boners the whole week. It was awesome. Later I might tell you about some of them. But as I was coming back, I jumped in my car. I was filthy dirty because by the last day of Burning Man, I had basically stopped wearing clothes. And every morning I'd stop wearing sunscreen too. So every morning I would just rub myself down in dirt like an elephant or like a biblical prophet. And then I would just party all day. And so I'm driving home from Burning Man and I get a phone call from my buddy Mark. And so have any of you been to Marcus and Guy's show? Yeah, so you know Marcus. So my buddy Marcus gives me a phone call and he's like, hey dude, there's a gig that I've got. Like someone wants to pay you like $250 to come to their friend's birthday party and make fun of them. Yeah, you know why that's funny. Because I didn't know what you guys know about Becca yet. And so I was like, at that point, I was still pretty new to comedy. I'd been doing comedy for about a year. And so I made a commitment to myself that if I was offered any stage time, I would do it. And so I immediately said, hell yes, I'll do it. And when is it? And he's like, it's tonight. And I'm like, I'm 800 miles away in the desert. But I'm driving home, so yes, I'll be there. So I'm driving, I drive all the way back. I drive to her house. I'm wearing jeans, a white t-shirt. It's got a little V-neck, so it's sexy. And I have like a hat, like a trucker hat with an eye on it, kind of like this one, but a trucker hat. And I knock on the door. That's Becca's sister, Elizabeth. She was there. She saw me shortly after her dad. Now, her dad, Becca's dad, you guys, is a lovely man. His name's Bob. And I knocked on the door and Bob answered. And I said, hey, Bob. Or I didn't say Bob, hey, Bob yet, but I was like, hi. And he was like, hi, I'm Bob. And I'm like, I'm here, I'm your entertainment, which felt really good to say. I've made it. I'm doing $250 birthday parties. This will work. And he was like, who are you? And I was like, I'm the comic that you guys hired for this party. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I said, okay, I need to talk to somebody named Chris.
That's him right here.
Chris is the dude that he was holding the microphone for Becca earlier. So I need to talk to Chris. Chris is the hot guy that hired me. And so I find Chris, and Chris looks me in the eyes, and he says, dude, I'm so excited that you're here. I haven't told anyone that you're coming. And also, I am not in charge of this party. And then I poke my head out the window and I get a look at Becca. And I'm like, fuck. I just agreed to go make fun of her at her birthday party, and no one said yes. Nobody even knows that I'm here. And so for about 5 seconds, I felt really, really scared. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I was brave. The Lord spoke to me. And so I went out and I did, like Chris goes and tells, I don't even know who Chris goes and tells, probably Elizabeth, because she was kind of in charge. And Chris goes and tells her, they kind of gather everyone awkwardly in the backyard. They're like, come everybody, like, they all kind of sit down, they put me like I'm standing on the grass over here.
I thought you were a stripper.
And she thought I was a stripper. What she doesn't know is that I am. I'm too skinny for that. She thought I was a stripper, and she was like, what the fuck, Chris? Why did you hire a stripper? My dad's here, and he takes me to church now. And then, fortunately, I wasn't a stripper, I was just a comic, so I started making fun of her. She loved it. I told some jokes about me. Everyone loved it. It was great. I got paid, and it worked out really well. And then, she's like, do you want to hang out at this party with me? Like, you can just hang out and be part of this birthday party. And I was like, I have literally nothing else to do, but sure. And so I'm hanging out with her, we're chatting, and she's really, really funny. Like, she's really funny. We're talking about what she tells me her story. She talks about what it's like to be in the situation that she's in, and she's so funny about it. And so I look at her and I'm like, Becca, you should come do stand-up comedy with me. And she's like, I can't. And I'm like, that should be your first joke. Anyway, so she came in, she did an open mic with me, and then she did another open mic, and then she started opening for me, and we just kind of developed a really lovely friendship. So give it up for Becca, you guys. Guys, I'm gonna try and figure out how to raise this mic up because I didn't have a lot of technology when I grew up, so this sometimes is a bit awkward. There it is, there it is, yes. How are you guys doing? Good. Good. Earlier, when Elena asked if there were any ex-Mormons, can I hear from the ex-Mormons again? Where are you guys at? Okay, that's a little bit better. We were a little shy earlier. I just want you to know this is a safe space. This is a place where it's safe to be ex-Mormon. We're not going to turn you into your bishop. We're not going to tell your mother-in-law. It's going to be okay. Are there any active Mormons? Any Momos? Damn it. I really want to get one of them in my shows one of these days because I want to tell them to sit down and listen to me for a change. Do I have any never Mormons in the audience? Okay. So those are kind of the groups that are here. So we're going to talk about Mormonism tonight, you guys, because I grew up on a Mormon polygamous compound, and that was kind of a big deal. I don't think I'm the only one. Are there any other polygamists in the audience? Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. You just brought your one wife though. That's actually pretty normal, you guys, because wives 1 and 2 are usually at home doing laundry. He usually only brings wife 3 because she's fun and new and 12. I'm just kidding, you guys. They don't marry 12-year-olds. The youngest wives that I knew were 14. Or as the Mormons say, several months shy of their 15th birthdays. It was kind of odd growing up polygamist. I felt very righteous. I felt more righteous than the rest of you because we were living the pure and eternal living covenant. But also, we didn't really get out much. And so when we did get out, it was pretty exciting. My favorite place to go was Walmart. Because Walmart is where the rich people shop. And I went to Walmart today. Do you guys want to see what I bought at Walmart today? I was just walking around, and I bought this book. It's called, can you guys see it? Yeah, it's a romance novel. It's called Dreaming of a Duke Like You. And the reason that I bought it is that when I was a young polygamous boy, I was super horny. And I think that unlike the rest of you, because I think I was the only one that was doing this, but I was masturbating the whole time. Like I started when I was like 11 and I have never stopped. I'm masturbating right now. You guys. And the problem, or the challenge perhaps, of masturbating when you're on a Mormon polygamous compound is that there's not a lot of fodder if you're a little bit visual, right? Because you're surrounded by your stepmoms and your aunts and your sisters, and that's weird. There are also a lot of dogs. Don't worry, I never fucked a dog. I did go down on one though. I'm just kidding. Or am I? Anyway, what I would do to kind of stimulate my erotic imagination is that while I was getting labor trafficked in the stores, I would sneak away. We would go deliver bread, and I'd sneak away and tell my dad that I had to go to the bathroom, but I would sneak to the book section, and I would find a book kind of like this, and I'd kind of skim through. I'd kind of speed read it until I found the naughty bits. And then I'd memorize them like scripture. Chapter and verse. And then I'd go home and I'd recite them as I lay down in my cot. Or in the bathroom of my bakery. And I'd, kind of take care of myself. And I felt kind of guilty about it a lot. But I also kind of felt a little bit justified. Because if God didn't want me to masturbate, then why the fuck did he make my arms this long? Right? He could have given me tiny T-Rex arms. That would have made it harder. He could have put my junk on my back. But no, he put it right here. And it gets closer when I'm excited. What the fuck, God? Anyway, I've never actually read an entire romance novel. I've only kind of skimmed. I've never purchased one myself. And so today is kind of a celebration. This is sort of an exciting, show for me because this is my first time headlining this room and doing a weekend. So I'm really excited. And so I was like, I'm going to reward myself. So I did two things. I bought myself some flowers from Costco, and I bought myself that romance novel. And I'm gonna read it, probably tomorrow. But I kind of have already gotten started, and I've learned something, you guys. And I think that, is anyone here on a date? Or is anyone here, you're here on a date? Anyone else? You can just cheer or raise your hand and I'll make fun of you later. Okay, awesome, I love that. I love dating. I'm dating a lot too. I think dating is really fun. It's kind of a fun way to explore erotic energy and tension between humans. That's a fun thing to do. But we kind of get in trouble dating right now because men and women, sometimes we don't really understand what's going on. And then there's that whole thing in between that's new. It was very confusing for me when I came out of the compound because I thought there were just two eternal genders. And then I went to Pride and I learned there are 87! Which I think is rad. I'm gonna be real, I love that for us. I really love that for us, but that's a lot to take in. Do I have to try all of them? I'm on 15. Anyway, shit, where was I going with that? Romance novel. Oh, so I started kind of skimming through it, and I think I've learned something, you guys, because I think this is going to be a bit of a generalization, but would you agree that generally this is for women?
Yeah.
Right? Like, dudes aren't buying this. What are dudes doing? Dudes are playboys, dudes are, porn. So dudes want to look and girls want to read, which is why girls are smarter than boys. But what I've noticed is that I think that there's something that men could learn from reading romance novels, and that actually kind of benefited me, because I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty good at dating. Like, I don't want to brag or anything, but I got a blowjob on my wedding night. Thanks for that. Yeah, so if you guys don't believe me, I'll just tell that story real quick. On my wedding night, I married a good Mormon girl, and she came up to me, and she was very excited because we hadn't even soaked yet. And she came up to me and she said, "I want to give you a blowjob." And I was like, "My righteousness has been rewarded." And so, because we were good Mormons, then we first said a prayer. We knelt down next to our nuptial bed and we said, "Heavenly Father, please bless this blowjob, that it will nourish and strengthen our bodies. And please bless the hands that prepared it. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, who was nailed on a cross. Dirty Jesus. Amen." And then she took my penis in her hands. That's what I thought too. I'm just kidding, I was trying not to come. That was the closest anyone had ever been to my penis. And then my angel Moroni blew his trumpet all over the place. Anyway, so I'm pretty good at dating, and I think I'm pretty good at dating. I'll just give you some evidence. I recently was talking to an intimate partner, and I told this person how many people I'd had sex with in the last couple of months, and their response was, "Wow." Which made me feel awesome. I was like, "Oh my God, look what I've done." It wasn't that impressive. But back to this book. This is what I think made me a good dater, is that my formative sexual experiences weren't porn or Playboy. I was reading romance novels. And so I think I understand the female psyche a little bit. So I'm just gonna give you guys some free advice. Hopefully this is funny. Any guesses at what point in this book these two people fuck? It's the very end. You guys, they don't even kiss. I bookmarked it. No. They kiss for the first time on page 207. 207 pages of chatting, of setup, of drama, and then they get one kiss. And then it's 40 more pages before they kiss again. And then they finally have sex on like page 385. So guys, just slow down. Like, you gotta get through the 300 pages first. You gotta build towards that. Anyway, that's why I bought this book. I want to talk a little bit about what it's like to grow up polygamous because people ask me that a lot when they find out. And I gotta tell you that I was stared at a lot in Costco. Have you guys seen this? You get like a plate wagon that pulls up, a plate mobile. It's an 18-passenger van, sometimes with a sidecar. And out comes like 3 or 4 sturdy bitches and a gaggle of like 16 or 17 little pliglets. They're all kind of looking at the ground like this. And then everyone turns into shitty ventriloquists. Babe. Caw-caw! It's a polygamous! It's a polygamous! That one has a knife in her boot. You guys, we can see you. Like, we know what you're doing. And honestly, I don't even know why you're that afraid of polygamous, because it's not like polygamy is contagious. It's not like you have to social distance or you'll catch another wife. 6 feet or 6 wives, you decide! Growing up, I was labor trafficked, which is pretty fun because that means that I can wear Nike now. Yeah, you guys can. I can. I can use an iPhone too. But I wasn't labor trafficked to make anything cool like shoes or an iPhone, which I feel kind of cheated about. Instead, I made granola because my family had a bakery. And one of the jobs that I had in my polygamous granola factory is I would take these like giant metal pans of granola and I would dump them into a metal bucket. And then I would reach in with my chapped polygamous hands and I would break them into bite-sized pieces. And chapped polygamous hands is like the worst flavor of granola. It's not great. What brand? High to Co-op. High to Co-op granola. Yeah, so I'd reach in with my chapped polygamous hands, I'd break them into bite-sized pieces. That was hard to say. And after we would be done bagging up the granola, we'd be left with like this little powdery residue, kind of like a granola dirt. And that's what we would eat for breakfast. I know, I'm so brave. And one day, I was done working like a 6-hour shift, and so I went home for breakfast. Thanks. One person here is good at math. That means that I was having a very late breakfast. And I looked at my bag of granola dirt and I saw a little chunk of granola. And I was like stoked. Because I'd seen this stuff like bagged up and shipped off to rich people. You guys. Probably in a Walmart somewhere. But never had I partaken of the crunchy goodness. So I scooped it up and I went over to the table and I poured in my milk and I said a prayer to polygamous Jesus. And I said, "Dear polygamous Jesus, please bless this granola dirt that it will nourish and strengthen my body." And then I scooped up the chunk of granola and I shoved it in my mouth, and it was cat shit. Oh. Yeah, it was cat shit. Because some cat had like found our bag of granola dirt and used it as a litter box. And I'd found the treasure. So if you've ever wondered what it's like to grow up polygamous, it's kind of like finding a chunk of granola in your granola dirt and then realizing that it was cat shit the entire time. Which is also kind of what it's like to grow up Mormon. Thanks for those claps. That means I pegged you guys. I know what it's like. We had problems on the compound. It wasn't all hunky-dory. One of our problems was grasshoppers, because we had, or as we called them, locusts. because it was biblical. And we had these grasshoppers because we had like all these weeds on the ranch, on the compound where I lived. And we would just have like these flocks of, like, I don't know what a group of grasshoppers is. A hop of grasshoppers. Just thousands of these grasshoppers jumping everywhere, and they eat the stuff that we were trying to grow in our garden for when Jesus came back. And we needed to have that Jesus food. And so we decided that we were going to spend some of our money not on pants or clothes or books or school. We were going to spend them on ducks. And so my parents bought a flock of like 15 ducks. And they loosed them on the compound and they waddled around. They ate all of the grasshoppers in like a summer. All gone. It was pretty effective. So if you have a grasshopper, this is actually a duck commercial. If you have grasshopper problems, call 866-7-DUCK. Don't call it, that's a fake number. You can't actually get ducks that way, you guys. Anyway, the ducks ate all the grasshoppers, which was pretty great. And then they ate all of the plants and turned our ranch into a dusty wasteland. And then they started dying. And it was weird, like for weeks this went on. Every couple of days, another duck would turn up dead. And there was no sign of like violence, like there was no blood. They were just like on the ground, kind of splayed out. And they were dead. And we couldn't figure out how they were dying. There was 15 one day, there was 10, and there was 6, and there was 3. And then there were just 2 ducks left. 2 of the whole flock. And one day, I walked out after a rainstorm. And one of the fun things about living on a ranch is that after rainstorms, there are huge puddles of mud everywhere. And so I went out and I heard this kind of squawking and splashing. And I ran over to this giant puddle next to our front door. And there was a duck. There were 2 ducks. Both of the ducks were in there. One of them was crawling on the back of the other one, biting its head and shoving it under the water. Yeah, while this really, really long squiggly thing that was white kind of went like this. And I was like a 10-year-old polygamous boy. I didn't know what the fuck that was. It looked like a noodle. It looked like a really thick spaghetti noodle that was trying to find a pot. And so I ran over and I was like, hey, and I like kicked and got them separated. But I made a mistake and I didn't like pay attention to which one was which. After I got them separated, I had no idea which was the top and which was the bottom. And so I was like, fuck, one of these, well, I didn't say fuck, because I didn't know fuck yet. I was like, Lord in heaven, please. I was like, fiddly sticks. One of these ducks is gonna kill this other duck, and I don't know which one it is. And so I went to tell my parents. I was like, hey, I figured it out. The ducks, there's one duck that's murdering all the other ducks. He's climbing on his back. He's got like a noodle of death. I think he's wrapping it around their necks and strangling them like a tripwire. It's crazy. We have to save the ducks. We have to separate them. And they were like, no, that's not a true thing. Stop reading books and you just go out and play. Don't even worry about it. And I was like, no, that's really happening. But they ignored me. And so I decided that I was going to keep this duck alive, damn it. Darn it. And so I followed them for the rest of that day. I followed them around, and I was basically a chaperone. Right? I was like, keep that Book of Mormon in between you. No touching. But sadly, eventually nighttime came and my parents called me in and I was like, I want to stay out. They're like, no, get in here, get to bed. So I went to bed and I woke up the next morning and there was a dead duck on the street. And there was just this one live duck kind of prancing around. Oh, I'm a murderer. I'm the Ted Bundy of ducks. And then my parents believed me. Well, actually, no, they didn't at that point. They were like, something is killing these ducks and we only have one duck left. So we are going to protect this duck. And so they put the duck in the chicken pen with all the chickens. I know. I was like, guys, we can't do that. That duck is a murderer duck. It was in the duck pen with the rope and the duck, Colonel Duck. And they're like, no, that's not true. So they throw them in there, and the next day, I shit you not, all the hens are dead. It was just a chicken rampage. And so finally they're like, okay, we believe you, so we're gonna get rid of this duck so it doesn't kill anything else. And they're like, we're gonna take it out, we're gonna tie a rope around its neck, we're gonna stake it to the ground, and we're gonna leave it for the coyotes to come and kill it, to eat it. And we went back the next day, and there was a dead coyote. I'm just kidding, that part's not true. That's kind of what it was like. That's what it was like on the compound. When I left in 2007. So I was released the same year as the iPhone. And when I left, it was kind of hard, actually, to come out in 2007, you guys, because you all were a lot more judgmental back then. I don't know if you remember, but in 2007, we didn't even have Obama yet. It's fun, though, now, because when I tell people that I was raised polygamous, they're like, cool, I'm a polyamorous queer witch. Which is kind of fun. That's a cool thing to be, and what I was warned about. When I left to go to college because my parents wanted a lawyer in the family to protect them from the government and to save America from the liberals and the intellectuals and the gays. And they didn't have classes for that at the liberal arts school that I went to. I didn't really fit in at college. Sweet, I just got a light. That means we're at 30 minutes, you guys, which means I have enough jokes for the rest of this set. Yes. Just kidding, I have plenty of jokes. And stories. So, shit, where were we? Liberal arts college. I didn't really fit in. I should keep you around, buddy. Can you just kind of follow me around, and anytime I get lost, I'll just be like, what am I doing, dude? Perfect. I love this. I want you in my pocket. Liberal arts college. I didn't really fit in because I brought food storage. Like everyone kind of brings something when they go to college. That's what I brought. This is actually true, like 100% true. I brought a 5-gallon drum of molasses. Yeah, nothing says I've never been around other people like 5 gallons of molasses. I still have 4 gallons left. If you guys stick around after the show, I'll give you some of my college molasses. You might need it because we're in the apocalypse right now. Anyway, I didn't really fit in. It was really distracting too because there were a lot of exposed elbows. I don't know if you know this or not, but seeing elbows is like third base for polygamists. Yeah, mostly because we never play baseball and have no idea how bases work. The good news is that I get to third base a lot. Every day. I've been to third base with 87 people just today. So I have a boner all the time. I started wearing shorts like a year ago, and now every time I flash my calves in public, I feel kind of like the Whore of Babylon. Where was I? Whore of Babylon, no, before that. Elbows, oh, college elbows, yeah. This is handy, you guys, because I can just go down whatever path I want to, and this gentleman will keep me on the straight and narrow. He will hold me to the rod, yes. You're actually holding to the rod, and I'm like over here dancing in the midst of darkness. And I'm just like checking in, I'm like, Marco! You guys over there are the great and spacious building. You're like pointing and mocking, ha 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 ha. Actually, the great and spacious building I think is over there. It's the conference center. I'm just seeing if you remember where I was. I'm just seeing if that was a test. I'm seeing if you're really good for this job. So I was at college. I was really horny. I was looking at a lot of elbows. And I met a woman that I decided that I was going to date and then marry. She was LDS. And so she was like, you should join the LDS church because you need a diet cult. And I was like, I do, to kind of wean myself off. So I joined the LDS church, we got married, and we immediately had 3 children. Because no one told me about birth control. which is kind of, it makes sense. Like, it's not like I ever found my dad's box of condoms. Growing up, I have 15 siblings. The dude wasn't strapping on. In fact, when I was a kid, the only thing I knew about condoms was, can you remember those like dispensers in the truck stop bathrooms? And all I knew about them was that they were shit gum. They didn't taste very good. Except for the cherry ones. Flavored for her pleasure. Just kidding. So I got 3 kids, and then got divorced. So I'm kind of moving in the opposite direction of polygamy. My dad's real proud. I'm kind of like a no-ligamist. Which I kind of like, actually. I really enjoy. Is anyone else here divorced? Yeah, hell yeah, dude. I kind of like it. Do you like it? Do you like being divorced? I like it too. I like it because it means that I can leave any conversation I don't want to be a part of. Like, you think I won't walk out of this Applebee's? Bitch, I ended a marriage. I have 3 kids. I like being a dad. It's really fun to be a dad. Oh, by the way, everyone, tip your wait staff. They're working hard. Give them a round of applause. And as you all know, you can buy anything in this world with money. And so give them some of that money. We've been eating, we've been drinking, we've been being merry. So spread some of that love to your wait staff. I know that most of you have like an extra 10%. So take care of it. I like being a dad. I like being a dad outside of the cult because it makes it a lot easier because I don't care about as many things. Like, for example, I don't really care if my kids swear. Like, that's a non-issue for me. And it makes it kind of awkward sometimes at PTA meetings. Because some people around here really care about the words that come out of your mouth. Which I think is hilarious that they've just given us the buttons to push. F-U-C-K, and you are angry. I've actually been teaching my children to swear, and it all started when my oldest daughter was 6. When my oldest daughter was 6, it was shortly after we left the church, and she came up to me and she asked me what a swear word was. She'd heard the term swear word. And so I was like, well, it's a word that we've all decided is bad and that you shouldn't say it. Because it makes people uncomfortable and angry. And my daughter is a little bit like me. And so she was like, can I have that word that makes people angry and uncomfortable? Will you give it to me? And I said, I will through the veil. Yes. It's fun to tell that joke because I know what some of you did. And where some of you were touched. You guys didn't like that. That was a bit triggering. Sorry. Remember, we laugh at our trauma, you guys. Anyway, my 6-year-old, she's like, I want to learn this swear word. And so I'm like, look, I'm happy to give it to you, but you have to know that using these words, there are consequences, right? And so I want to know that you can control it, right? I don't want you just running around willy-nilly throwing these words around. You got to be selective. You got to be thoughtful about it. You got to use it with people who are safe and who will appreciate it. And so she said, okay, well, how about this? What if you give me one swear word and I won't use it for a week? And that'll show you that I can use swear words responsibly. And then I'll give you another one. And then you can give me another one. And I was like, if you can do that for a month, you have a deal. You have a deal. And she said, yes. So we shook hands, because that's how we show affection in my family. That's the Mormon polygamy coming out of me. Can't hug kids, they get too soft. I'm just kidding. So she goes off. First I lean down and I whisper in her ear and I say, damn. And we kind of use it in a couple of sentences. She actually has a notebook, so she writes it down. She's been learning about sentences, and so we're like diagramming it. We're showing the different ways. I'll write a whole entry for her, and then I send her on her way. And I kind of forget about it. I don't think that anything's going to happen. About a month later, she comes back to me. Yeah, she remembers, and she comes back to me, and she's like, Dad, I have not said damn inappropriately all month. And I think about it, and I'm like, that checks out. I have not heard you say damn. I have not had teachers complain to me that you say damn. I've not had your mom complain to me that you say damn. You have done. Well done. Thou good and faithful servant. Thanks for returning the reporting. Hell. Same thing, we diagram, send off. This goes on for months, you guys. Next month it's shit. Month after that it's bitch. Month after that it's cunt. Just kidding. I just barely got brave enough to say that word. And I have to maybe go on a little bit of a tangent here. This is new, so I haven't tried this in front of a crowd, so we'll see where this goes. I have to tell you why I'm now comfortable saying cunt. It's because I've met a couple of cunts. And I think, and I don't want to use that word to like degrade or disrespect women. I think that most women are awesome. I think that 97% of women are fantastic, and 3% of them are total cunts. And I think when I imagine that, what I imagine is like a vagina that has just been like had rocks and twigs. Like the person has just been like, just like shoving shit in their vagina. And then it's gotten infected, and now it's oozing all of this like stuff. And that's what I imagine when I call someone a cunt. And there are also, I think, cunt goblins. Because I think that cunts attract people to do their bidding. And it's kind of like it's like oozing out, and then it infects people. Elizabeth, you really liked that one. I think that one might go in the mix. You're a pretty good barometer for my jokes. I like that one. Anyway, I did not tell my 6-year-old that word. I said bastard next. And I was building towards fuck, which is my favorite swear word of all. I think it's the king of swear words. And the reason that fuck is my favorite swear word is that I actually found fuck organically in the wild as a little polygamous boy. It's kind of a funny story how I did. Did you guys when you were like in elementary school, did you guys ever do that thing with someone's name? Like, dude, what's your name? Stuart. So did you ever do Stuart, Boober, Banana, Boober, me, my? Yeah. So shh, don't tell the joke. So I heard about that in like 1997. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I ran around and did it with like all the dogs on the ranch. I did it with my dad. I did it with my 15 siblings. And one of the dogs on the ranch was named Tucker. And so one time in front of an adult, I went, Tucker, bo bucker, banana, bo fucker, me, my, mo mucker, Tucker. And then I got cayenne put on my tongue for saying a bad word. And I was really bummed because I was excited. I was like, oh my God. I was kind of like my daughter. I was like, a bad word? Which one of those words was bad? Because I just said a lot of words. And I want to know which one is the powerful one. And so over the next couple of weeks, I would experiment in conversation. I'd sort of drop a word and see if I got in trouble. So I'd be like, that horse is a real bucker, eh? Nope, not that one. So I was pretty excited to give this word to my 6-year-old daughter. And so we were getting close. She'd gone through the rest of them. She used them well. And then one day, she was in the car with her mom. And someone cut them off in traffic, and her mom just yelled, "Fuck!" Yeah, and because my daughter knew, like she'd been in a master class of swearing for like 6 months. So she immediately knew what that was. But because I hadn't given it to her, the rules of discretion didn't apply. She found it in the wild, it was hers. And so fuck was the only word that she would say in front of like in-laws, grandparents, her kindergarten teacher. So that was pretty fun. It's nice to be a dad. That same daughter, I'm trying to indoctrinate them in a different way. I'm trying to give them an idea of what they could do with their life. Instead, I want them to, especially my daughters, I want them to have strong female role models because there's not a lot of that in the Mormon world. And so I got him a bunch of like little kid biographies. Have you seen like those? Who was Thomas Jefferson? Who was Benjamin Franklin? But instead, I went, who was Harriet Tubman? Who was? That's the only woman I can remember because I was raised Mormon. No, I'm just kidding. And then, I got her one that I thought she would like, and it was who was Amelia Earhart, right? And you all know who Amelia Earhart was. She was a really great female aviator. She was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic. She was one of the first women to attempt flying around the world. She didn't make it. We lost track of her. We don't know what happened to her. She probably got translated. Maybe she's one of the 3 Nephites. But I was listening to that book with my daughter, and it comes to the end of the book where it talks about her dying, and there's this line where it just says, Amelia Earhart inspired people all over the world and showed them that if you believe in your dreams and work hard, you can do anything you set out to do. And my daughter piped up from the back seat and she said, except fly around the world. Which made me I was like, you are skeptical and I like it. Do you guys want to play with the seer stone? Yeah. Yeah? So let me introduce you. This is my seer stone. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Lord appeared to me in a dream and told me to go dig a well. You guys on board with this? Yeah? And when I dug that well, I found this seer stone. And so I haven't talked to it before, but I'm going to pull up, a bunch of you guys put on some questions, so I'm going to pull that up. So give me just a second because I have to grab my computer, which is what a seer stone actually is. You can sing a hymn or something while you're waiting. Yes. Do you guys want to hear something real quick? Kind of a funny thing about hymns for me. I every time I hear a hymn, I get horny. Because when I was a teenager and I would get boners, which was like 3 times a day, my dad would tell me to sing a hymn to make it go away. And so now I can't come unless I hear Come Come Ye Saints. Or How Firm a Foundation. Or Master, my tempest is raging. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Let's see what questions we have here. So, responses 11. Okay, so the first question, I'm just going to read these all out and we can decide which ones we're going to answer together as a group. It's my wife's birthday today. What's her fortune for the next year? Happy birthday. What will happen if I do shrooms? You'll see what Joseph saw. You might start a religion. That's what I did when I did shrooms. I did shrooms and then I started something called Diet Cult. Diet Cult is, that's my cult. I'm the prophet of it. You guys can join if you want to. Diet Cult is dedicated to making fun of cults and then helping people who join cults survive. And we actually have stickers too. Now, I just want to point out, this is a really great design that I did. So obviously it's the Diet Coke design, but the colors are, I hyped those from the LDS Church. So it's the same color palette. You can buy stickers like this after the show for me if you want to. They're $6.66. Because you have to make a deal with Satan to join my cult. And then you have to kiss my ring. Should I give 10% of all I have to the Lord's Corporation? No, you should give 7% of all you have to my cult. How does one hide to co-op? You take shrooms. How do I get my children to wash dishes and take out trash? Have 15 of them. It's great. If you have 15 kids, some of them are going to raise your other kids. It's pretty great. How do I... No. Are we related? Oh my God, yes. Guys, listen. Everyone who's Mormon in Utah is related. Do you want to know why? Because 150 years ago, Brigham Young took 15,000 people, had them swear blood oaths, and then took them out into the desert, thousands of miles from civilization, and then they fucked each other for 150 years, and that's us. So yeah, we're all related. Reuben Jess is my grandpa. And what's the most awkward family reunion story you have? That's not a Searstone question, but I'll address that one real quick. I actually did comedy at my last family reunion that I went to. I did this set. Not this set, but kind of an earlier version of this set. And it was awesome because about a third of the family who's left loved it. About a third of the family who's still kind of LDS was like sort of into it because they liked that I was making fun of the polygamists, but they didn't like that I was making fun of the LDS ones. And then my dad and a third of the family hated it. So that was fun. When a fly lands on the ceiling, what maneuver does it use to get there? A barrel roll or a loop? Guys, we have got to get to the bottom of that one. I'm going to hit that one. That one's just a knockout, so I'm going to just do that one real quick. I'm trying to talk to God.
Take the shrooms.
Does anyone have shrooms? That would probably help. I should have put some in this hat. Okay, it's a barrel. It is spoken. How do you tell the difference between an oral and a rectal thermometer? Yeah, you gotta taste it. That's how you tell the difference. What type of bear is best? I don't know if that's bear or beer. I think the best kind of bear is a bear with beer. Actually, I do have a kind of a funny story about a bear. There was one time, I like to go backpacking, and I've been backpacking in Yosemite National Park a lot. And there was this one year that I went there. I go out in the backcountry with a couple of people. And one year I went there and there was a bear, like a little brown bear. And he would just harass us. He was like running around, getting in our food. Like we'd chase him away because he was scared of us. He was like a giant rat. But he would not give up. We named him Percy because he was persistent. And so we decided to move camp. And so I woke up early because I wanted to go take a shower. Or not a shower, I wanted to go bathe in the lake that we were camped next to. So I went down, I got naked, I washed I get naked a lot, you guys. It's that whole masturbation thing. Anyway, I go down, I get in the water, I wash myself off, I put on my underwear, I'm washing my clothes, and I hear someone yell, "Ben, the bear!" And I look up, there's like a granite slope that comes out of the lake, and I look up it, and this bear is walking down the granite slope towards me. And I'm like, shit. I can't wrestle a bear, I'm 125 pounds. I'm wiry, but I'm small. And so I'm like, I can't swim more than this bear, because this bear, like I saw this bear swim yesterday, no problem. This bear can outswim me, so the only thing I can do is attack. And so I pull myself up all to 5, 10.5 inches. I take my pants, I swing them around my head, and I run at the bear saying, "Hey bear, get out of here, hey bear!" And the bear turns around and runs. I chase it up the hill, and when I come over the crest of the hill, I look over to my right and I see every other member of my camp standing on a rock, watching me chase this bear away in my underwear. That wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. But that's the kind of bear that's best. Okay, I think I'm gonna hit the. Let's see. Did any of those sound the most fun? I'm gonna do your wife's fortune. Actually, I'm gonna go. Who? Well, maybe you don't want to identify. You're right there. Okay, perfect. So it's your wife's birthday. Wife, what is your name?
Jennifer.
Jennifer. Okay, so Jennifer, I don't actually know how this works, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this rock and this hat, and I'm going to try to channel God through it to give you some information that you're going to need for the next year. Okay, now if this information ends up being accurate, and I think it might be, because I don't want to brag or anything, but I have cured cancer. This is a true fact. I was on a show called Comedy Church. Have you guys heard of Comedy Church? I was on a show called Comedy Church, and one of the mega pastor of Comedy Church, his name is Greg Kite, and he had basal cell carcinoma, which is a rash. An easily treatable rash. You can buy like an over-the-counter dermatology cream and you're fine. But it is technically a cancer, and he had already been to the doctor and gotten his cream. But on the night of the show, he told me that he had cancer, and I asked him if he would like a priesthood blessing. And so I gave that man a priesthood blessing, and the next day, he did not have cancer. So by the law of causality, I'm a prophet. Okay, let's see how this goes. So what are we seeing for Jennifer for the next year? Jennifer. Okay. Okay. Got it? Yep. And? Perfect. Okay, I'll tell him. Okay, great, thanks. Okay, so that was God, everybody. And this is going to be, I just want you to prepare your heart for this message. You're supposed to marry me. And God wants him to go to England. So it's going to be pretty great. Thanks for playing along. You guys, we're going to get out of here in just a little bit. Oh, sweet. That was perfect timing. I want to just tell, kind of one more story. And it's about belief. Because we've all kind of been on a journey with belief, especially the ex-Mormons here, right? And I want to tell you a story about how I came back to belief. Because one of the things that sort of happened after I left Mormonism is that I was like, fuck belief in everything that you believe in, and I only believe in science. And I took a bunch of science classes because I had never taken science classes on the compound. And that was kind of a nice thing to do, right? It kind of like grounded me. I was sort of like, knock on wood, this is real, this is what's real. And after a couple of years of that, it started to feel a little bit stale, right? It started to feel a little bit kind of like a doctor's office or like a dentist, like a little too sterile for me. And so I started to play with the idea that maybe belief is a human thing. It's not a Mormon thing, right? Maybe I can believe, maybe believing is something that's older than Mormonism. And so I started going to places where I felt like I could maybe play with that idea. And one of those places was a music festival. I went to this little music festival. And I may or may not have ingested some things, some sacraments, perhaps. And one of the people who sang was this really cool woman. Her name was Sarah Solstice. She's from Saturn. And she only lives on air. And for about 5 minutes, she had me convinced that I could do that too. And she had done this really cool thing where she had taken old worship songs, like Christian worship songs, and she kind of turned them into like an EDM mix, and it was really, really beautiful. And when she was singing, I was kind of overcome. Like it really pierced me. It went deep. It felt like everything that I wanted belief to be in Mormonism was there. And I felt like I could see God coming through her. And so I fell to my knees, and I cried, and I started to worship. And it wasn't that I was worshiping her, I was worshiping that, right? I was worshiping the thing that was coming through her. And I just I fell to my knees and just like tears are running down my face, and then I immediately came in her face. Yes, yeehaw, man, you're back. Yes, we do have to get out. I want to do a couple things though before I wrap up. If you want to come say hi to me afterwards, I'm just gonna be hanging out here. I'd love to say hi. Sell you a Diet Coke sticker. You can kiss my ring. I also want to one of the things I like to do in my shows is I like to promote a nonprofit that I partner with. It's called Cherish Families. And the reason that I want to do that is that we've told some jokes, we've kind of made fun of Mormonism, we've talked about polygamy, ha ha ha, it's funny. That's all true, it is funny. It's also really traumatic. One of the real tragic things about that world is that there's a lot of generational patterns of trauma that are really executed on children. And I was one of those children. I was a victim of labor trafficking. It took me years, it took me the better part of a decade, and upwards of $15,000 of my own money in therapy to be able to stand in front of you and talk today, right? And most of the people who come from backgrounds like mine are not that lucky, right? They don't have the resources or access to I've been really blessed, I've been really fortunate. So, I just want you to kind of know that, and just know that there is a lot of suffering in our community. There's a lot of suffering just right here in Utah. That's part of why I like to shit on Tim Ballard, is that you don't have to go to Mexico to find kids that need help. There are kids that need help right here in Utah. So Cherish Families, you write that down, Cherish Families, that is a really great organization. They partner with families as they leave, so they'll help. Often what happens is that a wife will leave with her kids, and they help them transition, they help them get jobs, they help them get therapy. They're a really lovely and caring organization. And if some of you are looking for like a cool place to spend your extra 10%, then you can do it there. That's a really great one. If some of you want to sign up for my cult and give me 7% of your money, I will mock Mormonism until it dies. This I promise. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Thanks for coming, you guys. Get home safe. And bring my hair back up here.
One more time for you guys. Thanks so much for coming out. You guys have a good time tonight? Yeah. Fantastic. Well, make sure you check out wiseguyscomedy.com to see when your favorites will be coming to town, and that you get home safe tonight.